South by Southwest is best known for its conferences and festivals to celebrate the convergence of tech, film, music, education, and culture and comedy. It started in the late 80s as a local music festival and has grown into a premier launching point for up-and-coming music, arts, under-the-radar movies, and tech startups. Because of its cachet, the biggest names in the entertainment and tech now flock to Austin every year for South by Southwest. And this year, the vibe is incredible because it's coming after 2 full years. Hello and welcome to the special South by Southwest Austin 2022. This year marks the 34th year of South by Southwest, the hybrid film, music, and comedy festival held in Austin, Texas. After a gap of 2 years, South by Southwest returned to a sense of normalcy this year between March 11 and 20th by offering in-person events while still utilizing the virtual festival experience it has relied on since the pandemic began. Each year, the film festival section of South by Southwest grows in scale and patrons, offering an impressive variety of the latest indie and studio titles from film and television, representing all corners of the world. And this year, the festival was a whirlwind of film screening, red carpet, and much more. The red carpet premiere of the Apple TV series We Crashed was held at the Paramount Theater. We Crashed follows the story of Adam and Rebecca Newman, the couple who started WeWork.
WeWork.
Who wins in a fight? The smart guy or the crazy guy? Are you crazy enough? I may be.
Is Adam for real? I wouldn't be with him if he wasn't.
The wife, she works there.
She helps him manifest things.
How did you get the idea to make it into a series? You watched the documentary, and what was like the confidence that you had that this story needs to be told as is as much the best characters and the podcast and everything combined that we were all ready for it?
I'll answer that. The idea was Lee called me up and said, hey, let's make this thing into a series. And I said, great. So that was it for me. Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for me and for Drew, I mean, the characters at the center of this are so fascinating and complicated, and we really tried to show so many different shades of them. So at times during the story, you're rooting for them, at other times you're frustrated, and seeing those characters in this moment where, you know, there's something called the unicorn stampede where all of these companies are about to IPO, and telling the story within this moment felt really kind of, it felt right for this time, and also felt like a story that's universal.
Annie and Jared, they live and breathe these two people, and their own inner process of figuring out who they are and what their motives were and where their drive and ambition came from was such a fascinating process to be a part of. And so I think for us it was really important for us not to put a flag in the sand of who these people were, and just to let the audience kind of go on the ride of deciding who they are.
Thank you so much for coming to our Austin, Texas.
You have amazing skin.
Oh, I was just telling you, you're really popular in the Indian community. Everyone's favorite is you. So thank you so much, and we love the intern and anything you've done.
Thank you very much.
And looking forward to this series. So how was it playing Rebecca?
I learned so much from playing her. There really is something to be said about playing a character that has healthier habits than you. And I spent almost a year living as her, which meant, you know, and she has a very strong spiritual life. So it was difficult. She did some things that I don't agree with, but at the end of the day, my feelings about it don't really matter. What mattered was that I always be able to look at her with compassion and understanding to try to get to a fair version of the truth.
I just got done interviewing Anne Hathaway. She was so amazing, so friendly, so kind. she stopped and took pictures with everybody, and she was just so patient. And even while doing interviews, she's smiling and waving at people, and I have never seen that before. And I told her how much Indian community loves her. What did it take for you to prepare for Adam, like a person who went out to change the world and crashed?
But it took. The thing that was great about it is the story's so recent. I was able to just had an abundance of material, and I just dove deep, and articles, video, talked to people that knew him, and did my research. Of course, there's a great podcast as well, and it was a lot of fun. I dove deep. Really fascinating character and a really compelling story.
I was intrigued by all the things I found out, but really what got me to care and to empathize is when I started learning about the person behind it. And that to me was really something that I wanted to try and explore, is what's the human experience of this story we all know. And that's really what I wanted to sink my teeth in.
So I'm here again on South by Southwest red carpet for Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent with Nicolas Cage. He's going to walk in just any moment from now. So please stand by as we continue our coverage. This year, one of South by Southwest's glitziest blockbuster premieres was The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, directed by Tom Gormican and starring Nicolas Cage. The movie released in theaters on 22nd April and has been garnering rave reviews. The action comedy centers around Cage in his most meta performance yet, playing himself as he takes a high-paying gig attending the birthday of a mega wealthy superfan.
A cliff? We could have died!
I'm in position.
I think that's the actor Nick Cage.
Nick Cage? I love you!
How was it preparing for Nick Cage? Nicolas Cage preparing for Nick Cage? Can't even imagine.
So weird. So strange. I mean, the thing with me was I was terrified of the whole experience. I was worried that it was going to be like an SNL sketch mocking me, but Tom was very careful about that, the director. He was celebrating some of the earlier work, but he had these two inventions that were wonderful. One was the Nicky character, which is the younger version, and I had so much fun playing that guy. He's a blast. I can't wait to see him tonight. For me, that's the movie, and that's what I wanted to do. And he had these Cabinet of Dr. Caligari vignettes that he also had in the movie, where my character is in black and white with the Caligari makeup, and it's Ben Sanderson, it's Castor Troy, it's Memphis Reigns, and hopefully you'll get to see that on the Blu-ray. It didn't make it in the actual movie, but that was also why I wanted to do this film.
How was the first scene when you filmed with Nick Cage?
The first scene that we were in Dubrovnik, Croatia, and it was actually one of the longer dialogue scenes in the entire movie on the very, very first day. And I don't know, I hope it worked, because I think my motivation in it was like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening.
How did you come up with this idea of writing such a unique kind of script with comedy and some emotion and reality all together?
We just wanted to explore who Nicolas Cage is, because I think we all agree he's a fascinating oddball, and I wanted to dig into who he really was, but at the same time it's a bit of like a piece of performance art. There's things that are real, there's things that are not real, and the most interesting moments to me were when the two things collided and I didn't know which was which. The character was called Nicolas Cage, there was no one else. If he did not do it, this was a colossal waste of time.
The name, how did you come up with all that?
That was all Kevin Etten and Tom Gormican. Those guys worked on this script for over a year, and they literally did not work outside of it. They decided to take off of their day jobs and just write. And so that was their idea for the title, their idea for the concept.
The 2022 lineup of South by Southwest Festival comprised of 76 world premieres, 4 international premieres, 4 North American premieres, 2 US premieres, 13 Texas premieres, and 111 short films, plus 24 music videos, episodic premieres, 6 episodic pilots, 29 XR experience projects, formerly virtual cinema, and 19 design entries. Well guys, it's time for a short break, and when we come back, we'll bring you glimpses of exclusive interviews with Rohit Bhargava, the founder of the Non-Obvious Company, author Deepa Purushottamam, author 02 podcast Holly Shannon, and podcast manager at CNN and meditation teacher Upasna Gautam. Stay tuned. Welcome back to TV Asia Special on South by Southwest Austin 2022. Featuring a variety of tracks that focus on the most important breakthroughs in technology, film, culture, and music, South by Southwest featured an incredible line of keynotes and featured speakers whose interactive sessions turned out to be eye-openers for many passionate learners and professionals who share a similar appetite for forward-focused experiences. We had an exclusive conversation with producer and host, Culture Factor, and author of 02 podcast, Holly Shannon. Shannon is a Swiss Army knife in business and marketing. She's a speaker and consultant for businesses and individuals that want to grow a global footprint. She believes everyone should own their own microphone and encourages women to use their voice in this medium. Holly is published in Thrive Global, HubSpot Marketing, named an influencer in CEO Medium and Podcast Magazine. I have Holly Shannon with me. She's a top 2% podcaster in 2.7 million podcasters around 97 countries. And she is speaking here. She's also doing mentorship sessions. And she also has this book, 02 podcast. And let's dive into her topic, all about podcasting. So tell us, Holly, what is your podcast about? And thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you, Seema. I really appreciate being here, actually. My show is called Culture Factor. It was born of the idea that the creator economy has brought about a lot of conversations around NFTs and Web3, and we're hearing them on repeat, but we really just need it distilled down into basic terms so we know how does it apply to us? How does it apply to us individually or as a business? And I have had the most incredible interviews. I've had interviews with a married couple that one side does the code and the other side does the art, and their work is for social good. I have had people on the podcast that talk about financial freedom and trying to help women use blockchain and cryptocurrency to get there.
Holly Shannon also spoke about her book, 02 podcast.
My book, 02 Podcast, was actually designed for myself. I had decided I wanted to launch more podcasts, and I didn't want to reinvent the wheel. I had spent months on YouTube University trying to figure this all out, which is painful, I'm not going to lie. So I went back to all my notes, and I wrote myself a how-to guide. I take good notes. But I wrote myself this little book, and when I was done, I was like, oh my God, I have to share this. Like, I can't just keep this for myself. Like, I have to share this with people. So I ended up publishing the book as well. And I'm so glad I did, because I had no experience doing podcasting. So it was truly the step-by-step. And I think that that's lost in a lot of books. I think that a lot of the instruction out there, it's by people who are already audio engineers, which, don't get me wrong, that's not bad. But if you've never edited a podcast and you've never gone and tried to put your subscription on Spotify and iTunes, you don't know what to do. So it's literally step by step, but in 60 pages.
Indian Americans have made their mark in every sphere, And here too, we met up with diaspora members whose talks left the audience craving for more. One of the most sought-after featured session was with Rohit Bhagwat, the founder of the Non-Obvious Company. He's on a mission to inspire more non-obvious thinking in the world. He's the #1 Wall Street Journal best-selling author of 8 books on marketing trends and how to create a more inclusive world, including non-obvious megatrends and beyond diversity. Rohit has been invited to keynote events in 32 countries around the world. And here at South by Southwest 2022, he spoke on 10 non-obvious megatrends shaping 2022 and beyond. I'm speaking with Mr. Rohit Bhagwat, and this is his 10th book, Non-Obvious Megatrends, and every year he writes a book on non-obvious trends that are not obvious, of course, that are not predictable, that we didn't think of. And more than ever before, we are very curious to know what are the mega trends. And what my first question, of course, is going to be what to expect post-pandemic.
This book that I published around trends, as you know, it came out 2 months before the pandemic. So the first question everyone asks me is, hey, you wrote about all these trends and then the pandemic happened. So is everything still correct or is it wrong? And what was interesting was I looked at the trends, and I really spent a long time with the research after the book came out, which is not typically when you do the research, right? You do it before you write the book. But I did a lot of research to say, are these still relevant? Are they still happening? And in many cases, the trends accelerated even faster because of the pandemic.
So what are these mega trends?
My belief, as you know, is that the world needs more non-obvious thinking in it. So the first part of the talk is going to be all about how do you become what I call a non-obvious thinker? How do you learn to see the world differently, appreciate other perspectives besides yours, be more open-minded? That's what I'll spend the first part of the talk on. And then the second part will be, here are the 10 megatrends. And for each one, what does it mean to be a megatrend? And how do you actually use it? So what's a stealable idea for putting it into action for yourself, for your career, for your business?
And now it was time Rohit unraveled the mystery of Metaverse.
So Meta is Facebook's amazingly smart distraction device to distract us from the fact that they had all of this problem with the data they were collecting and what they're putting out in the world and the evil that they've created. So that's just a branding exercise, and it's working because people are distracted by it, which is unfortunate, I think. But the broader question is, what is the metaverse and how is that going to change what we do? And I think the metaverse in many ways is going to evolve the same way that social media has. I mean, we don't all have one social media platform. We have multiple platforms. And I think the metaverse will be like that. We'll have multiple metaverses and we will all create a profile in some of these. And just like some people have a Facebook profile and post once a year or never, and some people post way too often, we'll have the same thing with the metaverses, that people will post way too often.
If you are a woman and have read about women of color and their advancement of women in corporate America, you couldn't have missed the name Deepa Purushottamam. She is an author, speaker, and co-founder of Information, a company for women of color by women of color. Deepa, who is also Women and Public Policy Program Leader in practice at the Howard Kennedy School, spoke about her book, The First, The Few, The Only, during an exclusive conversation with us.
I wrote it after speaking with 500 women of color. I was a senior executive and I was questioning my own path, and in an attempt to figure out if I should stay or go, I started meeting with women of color. And what I found is at a very senior level, there were common issues that we were facing, common stories, and it became the basis of my new company and also the book. So many of them were what I call the first, the few, the only. The first in their family to go to college or be in a professional role, one of the few in a department, or the only in the C-suite. And when you are the only, there's a lot of eyes on you. There's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of feeling of you are trailblazing, but we don't talk about the negative side of trailblazing, the challenges of trailblazing.
This book, she says, is Deepa's deeply personal call to action for women of color to find power from within.
I'm asking women of color to realize is they need to find the power of me. We need to get really clear what we want, what our boundaries are, what we think is important to us, and how we want to show up. So that's the power of me. Then we need to find the power of we. So we need to find each other, because in operating in these systems and these structures by ourselves, it's really alienating. A lot of us were really depressed, sad, really overwhelmed. And so if you find community, the power of we, then you can find ways in your sisters to navigate through. So me and we need both of those parts if we're going to be in our full power, and if most of us are going to stay.
One more such eye-opening session held during the South by Southwest Festival was with Upasana Gautam, who is the product manager on the digital news team at CNN. She is also a mindfulness teacher and public speaking coach whose talk on working from home, mindfulness for remote work, focused on infusing mindfulness into everyday life through one's space, body, time, and connections, so people can thrive in a remote work environment. We are on day 2 of South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, and I'm going to be talking to Upasana Gautam. She is a product manager at CNN on the digital news platforms and services team, where she works with CNN's powerhouse team of engineers, designers, editors, journalists, and business owners, and optimizes the content management platform that allows breaking news to the world. Her current project is building the platform programming experience in CNN Plus.
In a nutshell, what my talk encompasses is mindfulness practices for remote working. And this really was born out of the pandemic, and a lot of us, just overnight being uprooted in our day-to-day work ethics and dynamics and being brought home to work. My goal is to share some tactical and basic knowledge around how to infuse mindfulness practices in your day-to-day to help create a more fulfilling remote work life. It's not about just meditating for X amount of hours per day, right? Yes, that's important and there's power in that. But what I'm really focusing on is the micro meditations you can do throughout your day, whether that's taking a pause in between meetings somehow, like being very intentional with context switching from one thing to another, and most importantly, productivity and communication around the words we use virtually. If there's one thing that I've learned during the pandemic and remote working, it's that we can't take anybody's time for granted, and that when we engage in conversations at work, the importance of mindfulness in every communication that we deliver, whether that's a Slack message or an email, because we don't have that face-to-face interaction anymore, we have to be even more intentional with how we cultivate and foster relationships.
If you want to reach out to any of these super talented people we got hold of, then you can connect with them on the social media handles. Truly, South by Southwest 2022 was a powerhouse of entertainment, knowledge, and creativity. Find out more about this in our next segment. Welcome once again to South by Southwest Austin 2022 special here on TV Asia. As the largest exhibition at South by Southwest, the Creative Industries Expo is the hands-on experiential showcase that brings the conference conversations to life with endless unexpected discovery opportunities. In no other place at South by Southwest, you will find this many creative businesses and organizations together in one place. Several areas located throughout the Creative Industry Expo feature content aimed to promote discovery, education, and inspiration. The Creative Industry Expo 2022 was open to all South by Southwest badges from March 13 to 16 at the Austin Convention Center in Exhibit Halls 2 to 5.
We've had a lot of action at our booth, a lot of visitors, and people seem really excited. We're thrilled. Zozo owns and operates Japan's largest fashion e-commerce business. We sell a variety of brands, over 8,000 in apparel and also cosmetics. And these are all measurement technologies that we've developed to support our customers with measuring from home, getting their skin tone scanned at home, and basically finding better size and product recommendations to fit them.
It's been incredible. It's been so much fun. We've met some really exciting people that are really interested in what we're doing, and it's been nice to be able to interact with people and just tell them about what we do.
Today is a fantastic 2022 and amazing people after COVID, and truly blessed to be in Austin to see and the way the technology is growing. And we have always having a booth here since almost close to 5 years. And I'm from Arctic, I'm the founder, and I'm in the process of launching the platform and a lot of customers.
This is actually my first time at South by Southwest. I was supposed to come 2 years ago, but the pandemic hit, and now it's quite the experience. It really feels like Austin is full of life, and I've had a lot of fun seeing what all of the different brands are doing here, and seeing all the people come together, and just the creativity that's taking over the city is amazing.
Wow, this was certainly an enriching experience for everyone who could make it this year. And for those who couldn't, we look forward to seeing you again March 10 to 19th, 2023 in Austin, Texas, and online for 2023 South by Southwest Conference and festivals. This has been such a great experience for both of us filming. We have tried to get you the most we can from red carpet and films and music, some top Hollywood celebrities, the creative industries today, and a lot of information. There's people from here post-pandemic from all around the world, networking, finding money, finding venture capitalists, and introducing each other. The ambience, the vibe is just incredible. What do you think, Marcy?
Well, as Seema mentioned, it's been 2 years since South by, and being back feels great. I would say that everybody's sharing a similar kind of perspective, and people are very happy, very chatty, more than any other South by I've ever been to. So I really like being here.